What up, y'all? Star Wars Steph here, and we're going to be going through the market. So, Star Wars Unlimited just dropped a couple days ago, and I thought I'd check out some of the prices of these cards. We're going to be focused mainly on the competitive side of the game, but we'll look a little bit into the collectability aspect of the cards as well. So, if you do want to talk about collectability, which we will do first, we're going to look into these showcase leaders. Now, these are 1 in 12 boxes, so they're a little bit hard to pull. Obviously, the most expensive one is Boba Fett. That is tied to him being the most competitive leader out of all of them. Early signs of the meta are shaping up that Boba, Sabine, and possibly Iden are going to be the best leaders to pair with your deck in order to take home the Galactic Championship. We won't have one of those in this format, but that's okay. Some other ones that I think are really going to be cool collectability-wise, the Palpatine for sure, Boba Fett, and the Leia. Those are some of my favorites personally. The Thrawn looks really, really good as well, but that one's not performing as well as the other ones that I mentioned. Yeah, so next we're going to take a look at some of the singles from the set. So here's one of the most expensive singles in the set, but that is not a showcase. That is going to be Darth Vader, the unit. And this is going to be the hyperspace version. These are selling right now for roughly $150. And if you want the foil, just spend a couple 20 extra bucks and boom, you got it. This is crazy because this card is played in pretty much every villain deck, and it might have some collectability to it as well. Next up, we're just going to look at the regular unit. This one is, yeah, still sitting at about 60 bucks. And you can get a hollow one for roughly 80. So that's going to be the regular Darth Vader. Next up, we have the Boba Fett Hyperspace Rare. Now, this one's actually really, really interesting to me. So this one is going to be $70 near mint. And then the hollow is going to be coming in at a low of 150. Sales have been happening for this card at 150 for the foil. And as you can see, the regular is selling for about 70 bucks. Now, this is played in one of the most competitive decks in the game, and that is why it is so expensive. But also, it's an amazing Boba Fett card, just like this Darth Vader card. I mean, it looks great. Next up is going to be the Boba Fett regular. So previously we were looking at the hyperspace. Now we're just going to look at the regular. And the interesting thing about this is that this card is all over the place. It is $50 right now, but it has been, you know, as you see within today, so 58, 45, 69. People can't make up their minds on it. This $50 one is for a foil one, which is very interesting. So which means the regular printing is surpassing the foil one. I think this has to do with playability. This card is probably better played at a min rarity because, you know, you don't really have expensive cards in your deck, but it's super funny that the min rarity has now exceeded the hollow of this version. Next up, I think this is another very collectible card. If you were going to grade any cards outside of the showcase cards for this set, I would guarantee that this Luke Skywalker Hyperspace, the Boba Fett Hyperspace, and the Darth Vader Hyperspace are going to be your best bet for that. So the regular hyperspace on this one actually has quite a disparity between the hollow one. So the regular hyperspace is going to be $34. And if we scroll down and head on over to the next page, the hyperspace hollow starts at around 120. So that's like a $90 difference between holographic and non-holographic, which is really interesting to me, which that leads me to believe that this is going to be a very collectible card. Next up, we have the regular Luke unit, which is coming in at just $10 under the hyperspace. So if you are going to play this competitively, I would suggest grabbing the hyperspace. Next up, we have the Millennium Falcon Hyperspace. This is an extremely good card in any hero deck that can play the cunning aspect. So it's no wonder why this card's still sitting at about 30 bucks. And this one, I think, has a little bit of a disparity from the common to the hollow. The hollow is going to be coming in, not even on this page, but that means there's a lot of them. This sounds like this one has a lot of listings. Well, the hollow is just roughly about 20 bucks more than the regular for the hyperspace version. So maybe invest in that if that's what you want. I think the hyperspace hollows look pretty amazing, and if I could, that's probably what I'd build my deck out with. Once I make a decision on what deck I'm actually committing to. Next up, we have the Millennium Falcon, just the regular. Once again, these are all legendary cards that we've looked at so far, so they're relatively hard to pull within these packs. I think you're on average going to see about 3 to 4 legendaries a box, but that can vary with the hyperspace versions. So the regular Millennium Falcon's coming in at 15 bucks, stabilizing here. It's been that for a while, and only $5 more for the holo printing. Next up, we are going to look at a couple rares that are rather expensive. So we looked at that Millennium Falcon. The Millennium Falcon's sitting at about 15 bucks. If you look at this hyperspace rare K2, I mean, it's $15, like straight up. And you only got a couple listings, two more listings till we hit 20 on that one. And then the foil one is about double that. And then after that, it jumps up to 10 bucks. So these cards are really interesting. It's going to be interesting to see where they land. It's still, only the first couple days, but it's great to look at the market and try to project how these cards are going to do long term. Next up is going to be the regular rare K2. So once again, rares come quite often in a box. So make sure to check your rares that you're not trading this one away or for the low. Unless you know somebody who's trying to build a deck. And if that's the case, then give it to them so that they can play the game and we can play the game and build a pretty strong community. That's what we're hoping for here. Next up, though, yeah, the K2 regular going to be $8, and the holo doubles up at about 15. Yeah, really strong card. So it's no wonder why. Next, we have Fet's Fire Spray. This card is hyperspace rare is going to be $31, and the hyperspace holo, I wonder. I really wonder. And there's not too many listings for this, only 2 pages. And there's only one listing for a holo, and that's $70. So that person is setting the market, but there has been this one sold for $47. Next up is Fet's Fire Spray, the regular version. That's coming in at about $6. So that card also tells me that this might be another one of those more collectible cards for some reason. Just because the hyperspace, the max rarity version of it is just, the discrepancy in price is so much between the regular version. Yep, so that's coming in at $6, and then the holofoil is trailing it just right here at about $8. Next up, we have Overwhelming Barrage, one of the strongest cards in the game. I wanted to look at this one. It is a uncommon hyperspace that is going to run you about $8. And if you want the holo is only coming in at $17. Next, I wanted to look at these starter deck exclusive cards. A lot of value in the starter decks, so you're going to want to keep these cards around because that's the only way that you can get them. Make sure you have your playsets of them for when you are deck building. So yeah, R2 coming in about $3, Tarkin coming in at a 3, Leia 3. All these cards seem to be about $3. C3PO $3. Admiral Mahdi kind of trailing a little bit below 3. And next we are going to look at what I think is a very interesting trend, and maybe something that could have been fixed with a rarity swap. But I think if that would have been the case, then this card would have been a lot more expensive. So we have Red 3 here, a very playable card, a very amazing card in the Sabine deck, whether you're playing the red Sabine or the green Sabine. And it is a rare, hyperspace rare, sitting at about $10. And the holo foil for it jumps straight up to $42, which is absolutely insane. It is, like I said, one of the very strongest cards in the deck, and that deck is very cheap as well. So max raritying it makes sense that some of the more expensive cards are going to be, like the more expensive cards in the cheap version of the deck, the high rarity versions are just going to be crazy expensive. Next up is going to be Red 3, just the regular version, and this one is baffling too because you could get the hyperspace for about the same price. And the holo of this is roughly $9 until somebody buys these two up, and then it's going to be sitting at $15. So yeah, this card is a rare and a very valuable rare, not only competitively but lucratively. Next up is going to be Black 1. Now this one's a legendary, and if you ask me, they might have done better by making Red 3 a legendary and Black 1 just a rare. But I think that would have significantly increased the price. Red 3 are pretty sure is our cheapest legendary, sitting here at about $3. So yeah. Oh, sorry, that's Black 1. Black 1, cheapest legendary, sitting at $3. But, and then when we get into the hyperspace version, right, we make a major jump into the $16 territory. And nobody's bought actually any of these. I don't think there's sales data for this card So this is probably going to be a lot cheaper than you think. Some more cards that are competitive is going to be this Cartel Spacer. It is just a uncommon, and we're sitting at about a $6 for the foil. Now this is interesting because the non-foil has been bought out pretty much to be more expensive than the hollow version of it. This is played in Boba as well and is a really good card for the cunning villainy aspect. Next up is Cunning, and this card is super duper good. There's a mono Boba deck, not the traditional yellow Boba, that plays this card, and it seems to be a little bit all over the place too. People are picking this card up, but we're seeing just a price of about $10 for it, so on the lower end of the legendary cards. Next up is a card that I think is criminally undervalued, and that is going to be Mace Windu. Now, this card, if you ask me, is actually very good in Sabine. As a late game bomb, they can just start clearing things off the field if you're playing in more of a grindy matchup, right? With this 5/7 ready him after attacks, it's just, yeah, pretty good. One that is higher than I expected is going to be this Obi-Wan, or if you ask me, it's Ben Kenobi. That's who this is. This is Obi-Wan. All right, this is Ben. This is Ben. But yeah, it is sitting at a price of about $9, $10 for the hyperspace, but that quickly dries up. We have about 6-7 listings at about $10 to $15, and then it's going to go shoot up straight to a $30 card. I'm not sure how competitive the loop deck is. I think it's pretty good, but we would have to see. And so for the near mint holofoil, we have 0 listings, and well, one did sell at $23. But so yeah, somebody's trying to milk this one for $200. That's very, very interesting to me. Last couple cards to round out our card watch, and so we'll take a look at some of the sealed product. The booster boxes are going for about $92 on the market. They have dropped, since picked up a little bit, and are kind of beginning to stabilize. If you ask me, this might change. This is a brand new set, a brand new card game, and a lot of people are going to be excited and interested to play this game. It is a lot of fun, easy to play, hard to master, and of course it's Star Wars. Last thing to look at is going to be these Spark of Rebellion pre-release kits. Now this is the pre-release kit for the very first set, and these were roughly about $30 just a couple days ago, and have since begun to shoot up to a low of $60. So if you have any of these sealed, you might want to keep them. I heard from people that there is better pull rates than these. That's not something that I experienced myself, but who knows? Thanks everybody for showing up, and may the force be with you.